Okay, today on I Create, we're going to make snowflake candles. Now these darling snowflake candles are made from recycled wax. I take my old wax candles and I heat them up. I heat the wax up slowly on the wood stove. And I want to be careful because if your wax starts smoking, it can get very hot and you can catch on fire. So you want to make sure to keep it just warm enough to melt the wax. And so anyway, one way I can color the wax is I use crayons. The crayons have a good pigment in them so that they turn the wax different colors depending on what color you want. I use white color crayons to do this snowflake. This is my wax on the stove. I just heat it up till it becomes liquefied, and then I can pour them into my molds. Okay, what I do is I take a cookie cutter like this, I'm doing a snowflake, I put it in tin foil, and then when I pour the wax in, I pour it a little at a time. I push down on the cookie cutter form and I pour a little wax in and I hold it down. I let the wax solidify a little bit and then I pour more in until I fill up my mold. There's several ways you can put the wick in, and you can wait until the bottom is solidified and then you just hold the wick in there and it'll stand up by itself, and then you can pour the rest of the wax in there. One thing I do when the wax is liquefied is I just spoon it in like this, and if you spoon it in just a little bit at a time, you'll notice it starts solidifying and then it won't run out the bottom. And then just let it sit for a minute or so and it'll make a nice bottom for the candle. And then I put the wick in. At one point when the wax is solidified enough, the wick will stand up by itself, and then you just hold the wick in place where as you slowly pour in the rest of the wax. I just poured it in stations, in like pieces, until the wax is solidified. I don't pour it on all at once or else it will come out the bottom because it's too hot. Once I poured it into the mold, it takes a little while for the wax to set up. When the wax is solid enough, I'll be able to pick it up and move it, and I'll put it in the freezer for about 5 minutes. If you put it in the freezer any longer, the wax can crack. This enables the removal of it from the mold much easier. Also, if it's a more complicated mold like this, sometimes I'll spray oil around the edges before I pour the mold. Here the wax is now setting up, and here's the snowflake. It just came out of the freezer, and now all you need to do is put some pressure in the center and pop out the candle, and there it is. Some you may need to add more pressure than others to get the candle out. Just be careful not to break it. This unlimitable idea was brought to you today by I Create. Enjoy.